Let's explore some surprising connections. Roman Instagram and minimalism. How Apple found its inspiration and how a big mistake led to the Renaissance. Social media and street art. Valerius is gay. No judgment here. The wine here was great. These aren't your friends' posts, but actual writings on the wall of Pompeii. A terrible tragedy gave us the best preserved screenshot of the ancient Roman internet. And phrases like Apollonius had a good poop here were actually pretty common in Pompeii. Yes, you could also call these writings the ancient street art. And the similarity isn't just about writing on walls, it's about the meaning behind it. Because street art emerged as a response to strict censorship by galleries. In the 80s, in the US and Europe, it was hard for artists, especially young ones, to get their work into galleries, so they took to the streets. So while galleries pressured artists, the Roman government pressured its people, who then vented their emotions on walls. The most important shared feature is walls offered anonymity. In both the 80s US and Pompeii, it was the safe place to criticize authority. And this is the same function street art performs today. Criticizing capitalism, power, or social injustice. Please let me know in the comments if you agree with that. If you see the parallel, it's really important for me to hear your thoughts. The Renaissance and the white skin mistake. The famous Greek statues weren't white, like we used to see. This is what they really look like to people back then. But over centuries, the paint vanished away. When the Renaissance began, after centuries of strict religious focus in Europe, people wanted to embrace the human body again, and they looked to Greek ideals for inspiration. Or rather, what was left to them? This led to the ideal of white marble or even white skin, which sounds questionable to my toned ear. It also led them to a focus on simplicity in sculpture. They were thinking the old sculpture was monochrome. Simply put, the Renaissance artists misunderstood how ancient Greek statues looked and started to recreating this white image. And that mistake created a whole new artistic direction, essentially reviving something that never actually existed. That's for the marble, but the white skin idea isn't that harmless, because the notion of whitenesses in statues transformed into the Renaissance concept of beauty, and that partly influenced the perception of white marble-like skin as an ideal, proving that the peak of human civilization was created by and for white people. This myth became deeply ingrained in public consciousness, shaping unconsciousness racial stereotypes that we still see today. I've even experienced this personally. My skin color was much darker as a child because I'm mixed race. Don't get me wrong, it's not a problem itself, but I grew up in a country where most people look like this. And I tried to lighten my skin with all sorts of crazy products to fit in with the lighter skinned kids at school. And if you think about it, Italy and Greece are southern countries. It's now proven that the statues' skin colors were often flesh-toned or dark olive. If people there had really been pale, the colored statues would have looked like this, because SPF hadn't been invented yet. Another lasting impact: minimalism, Scandinavian design, the Apple aesthetics, and monochrome aesthetics in general. Think about beige Kardashians. All of that appeal to the purity of white and monochrome look of the Renaissance as a symbol of good taste. Oh, those beige and Apple lovers. Feel pity for them. And let's talk about propaganda. The Romans were the first to understand that empire wasn't just held together by legions, but by ideology, and they created a sophisticated visual machine to achieve this. Here were the tools of propaganda. Coins, the most effective media with a viral effect. Every person in the empire, from Britain to Syria, held a coin with the emperor's throne portrait in their hands daily. This was a constant reminder who brought them stability and prosperity. Architecture. Triumphal arcs and columns. They were stone comic books for people, detailing the emperor's victories, the mercy towards the defeated, his divine favor, and generally how great he was. Sculptures. For example, Augustus is shown as the ideal general in armor, orator, and descendant of the gods. And every element carried a clear ideological message. On a higher level, modern political campaigns use the same methods. What do you think about it? Do you see their connections? Let me know in the comments. And generally, Roman sculpture, unlike Greek, aimed to emphasize masculinity, and all of that features that essentially explained why they ruled the peoples of the empire. Greek figures, on the other hand, focus on the ideal beauty and the perfect body. So Roman sculpture is like men taking selfies with weapons or fish, while Greek sculpture is like those who carefully pose for the camera with a nice latte. Thank you for watching my video. Let me know in the comments if you find it interesting. It's really important to me to hear your thoughts. Big hugs, see you soon.